Are you listening? Damn.
Welcome to another edition of the AFC North Talk presented by True Classic. True Classic, upgrade your shirt game with True Classic. How you doing, fellas?
Just realizing that I'm redoing some of the office, and you can actually tell from behind me. This is a kind of a disaster area behind me. Yeah, it's a little bit.
You don't even want to see.
Yeah, you know, somebody codes when they have like 3 keyboards. Like that's only somebody who codes. Like they have 3 keyboards. No other human being has a need for 3 different keyboards. But like coders, they'll have like 4 different keyboards and all that, and like a vertical screen. That's how I know this guy's.
I don't know. I have the Ultra, but I don't have a vertical. But I do have my setup is literally this. This is like personal PC, podcast PC, and then if I need to work, bam, right here. We're right in.
Yep, that's what I need. That's what I'm trying to get now, Tony.
Yep. L-shaped desk. It's the best. It is the best.
Yes, it is.
So I used to have three keyboards, and I said, "No, I can deal with this." So then I was confused, and then I said to work, like, "Give me a KVM. Just give me a KVM, you know, and then let me just jump through, and then I have one computer here, and then the other setup here." And it's better than just having, you know, a bunch, because it gets confusing. The whole 3 keyboards is confusing.
I have one computer that for tax purposes I only use for this show. If anybody is listening, for these for work purposes only.
100%.
That's one. That's right. 100%. And that room 100%. You're in is never used for anything else. That is
legitimately 100%. This room is not usable for anything.
Yeah,
else.
you could tell. By the way, looking good. I know you're going through a renovation, but looking good.
I like a lot.
You know what I mean? We had a lot to change. This is gonna be the set's gonna be changed around because when the Browns are ready to dominate the AFC next year, we're gonna need a whole new set because it's like the New Jerseys, right? Bengals get new jerseys, they become a new team, right? Seattle got them new jerseys when Russ came, they became a different team. We got to become a different team, and so this background has seen some disappointment, so we got to get rid of that background. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Nothing makes set design much easier than just turning the screen vertical. You know what I mean? Now it looks like it's custom made, don't it? Like that looks it's not
legit.
a TV.
Pretty legit.
That's not like a TV from the dorm room in college. That's a purpose-built thing, it looks like.
I'm hoping, Q, that you don't spend $250 million to go 7-10, though. That's my only worry. It's just
hey, you know what though? We didn't spend $250 million. Cap wise, base salary wise, we spent $700,000 to go 7-10. So take that one in there and stuff it. Same money as Kenny Pickett, and we won more. And
didn't win more. Didn't win more.
2 more touchdowns though. In that span. Better touchdown interception ratio. What's that Kenny Pickett touchdown interception ratio?
Well, listen.
What's that Kenny Pickett touchdown interception ratio?
What matters at the end of the day is touchdown interception ratio.
I'm just pulling up the numbers. I'm just talking about facts. What's the numbers?
Let's be honest. For QB, touchdown to interception ratio, pretty significant.
I mean, it's the first thing we bring up. Well, let me give Kenny Pickett some credit.
Again,
Kenny Pickett. 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
That's correct.
He got a losing record.
And, by the way, and he won 7 games this year.
Oh, nice. I mean, it's so did Jimmy Garoppolo won a lot of games. Don't mean good.
Deshaun and Jacoby, how many did they get together?
Oh wow, 7 and 9. What do you say?
As many as Kenny? It took 17 games for them to get as many games as Kenny got in what? Kenny got it in 14 games.
Yeah, was Kenny Pickett not in a better situation?
Kenny Pickett's in a better situation. Kenny Pickett had the worst offense in the league.
Not this argument again.
Oh boy, the worst offense in the league.
I'm just saying. You're shying away from the 7 touchdowns, 9 interception thing, though. Like that. What is that? What is that? 7 and 9.
7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. A rookie going through rookie mistakes early on. And some of those interceptions against the Jets were, they were a little.
The Jets.
They were a little bit, unlucky. But as a young quarterback does, he worked through it.
Oh, unlucky now. No, we can't say Deshaun unlucky.
Deshaun Watson unlucky? Well, that's the thing about him. He's a rookie. We got to treat Deshaun like he's a rookie.
I'm just saying, seven touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
Remember,
he had 3 touchdowns in his last 3 weeks of the season, and like Deshaun had that in 1 half of football.
Wow, how many
but comparable though, right? But it is cool. It's cool.
3 touchdowns against Washington, and then
Hey man, look, Kenny Pickett's gonna make one hell of a backup one day. I agree. He's gonna be one of the best backups in the league.
Hell of a backup. Wow.
Oh yeah. Okay. Come on.
Congratulations on losing.
Everything about that stat line says backup.
Deshaun Watson comes back, loses to a backup quarterback.
Hey, when your quarterback's better than when your quarterback's better than the Browns' backup right now, then talk to me. We got a guy on the bench. We got 2 guys on the bench that put up better numbers than Kenny Pickett. We had 2 guys, Josh Dobbs and Jacoby Brissett.
This is the great thing about the Browns front office and their talent evaluation is that they still think this guy they're starting is not is starter caliber when clearly Brissett was the better quarterback all year. And I will agree with you, Josh Dobbs also better than Deshaun Watson.
I would say Josh Dobbs, Jacoby Brissett, Deshaun Watson. I would rather have all 3 of them than Kenny Pickett.
We started so well.
I would rather have Tyler Huntley.
I think I might have started this one, by the way.
I would rather have Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well,
obviously, Joe Burrow. I ain't seen what Brandon Allen doing.
Don't forget.
Brandon Allen looking good at practice. What's some practice squad reps looking like? Because he got bigger hands. I
mean, once again, the hand size. Let's talk about the hand size thing again. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna do the hand size thing because that really played out. I mean, that was really one of those things.
I like how they were like the hand size didn't matter. He had 7 to 9 touchdown to interception ratio.
Oh, you think the hand size why he threw interceptions in December? How many interceptions did he throw in December? I mean, my goodness, I think he threw 1. It was against the Raiders. That was it. 1, and it was
like 20 passes the whole month. Of course, he didn't throw that many interceptions.
The man had to go back on back-to-back game-winning drives in December. He didn't throw enough passes. The guy had to throw clutch passes.
Clutch passes?
Yes, clutch
His
passes.
best pass was a screen to a running back.
Manipulating John Johnson for that Kenny for the George Pickett touchdowns wasn't exactly tough. Okay, but that wasn't tough. Throwing it against Roquan, I agree with you. Roquan overrated. We know about that.
Roquan's not good, so let's not act like that.
Yeah. So maybe you're right. Maybe we'll get some. Maybe at one point we'll get some good defense against Kenny.
I feel the bait. I'm not taking it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling
that. All right. That segment's over. Moving along.
Woo. Okay. Let's
the Deontay Johnson of quarterbacks though.
It's gonna be a fun off season. That's all.
My God, off season gonna be hot. Okay,
what's hot about it? There's nothing hot to talk about.
Well, Lamar Jackson, right? That's
but the real conversation is gonna be because Lamar gonna get shipped out of here. Then we talk about Kenny Pickett. Okay, it is gonna be what Joe Burrow versus Deshaun Watson. It's not much debate there. Joe Burrow's better right now. I give him that. So it's just Deshaun clearly number 2. And then we could debate Tyler Huntley.
Clearly, no. He's clearly a number 2. Yeah, I agree. He is clearly a number 2.
This is so 903. January 27th. Okay, I'm gonna put that in my Google Notes.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and we're gonna come back to this one at an appropriate time. We'll come back
can we do the quarterback rankings now? Let's just do them now. We gotta talk Chiefs Bengals. We gotta talk.
I'm gonna let you think about this for a little while. I want you to ruminate what embarrassing you're gonna say on air when it comes time. I want to pump up Kenny. You know what? We should pump up Kenny Pickett for the rug pool. You know what I mean? Because that Kenny Pickett rug pool is gonna be better than Crypto Zoo. You know what I mean?
That Crypto Zoo. That hit different. Anyway, sup fellas, they gonna play us in Burrowhead.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk about that later.
Can we just talk about the Chris Jones thing real quick? Because that was like one of those okay.
They're
mad. They're mad.
It was like when Juju accidentally said the Browns is the Browns, and then the next day everybody was like, "I guess we just the Browns." He was like, "Oh, yeah." They are using that.
Yeah, they're using that. Yeah,
it might have been a mistake.
That's the crazy part about it is because initially the first time I heard one of their players say it was Travis Kelce, like early in the week, and he was on his brother's podcast, and he was like, "Yeah, Bengals fans are calling it Burrowhead." That's not where it started. It really started from the Mike Hilton video where he was mic'd up. And he was saying we're going to Burrowhead next week and all of this and that. Then the fans started saying it. And then, yeah, like Tony's saying, Chris Jones came out today and was like, yeah, we'll see you in Burrowhead.
So if they lose, we blaming Eli Apple. Okay, let's do this.
I mean, if the Bengals win, though, like I get where Kansas City Chiefs fans are coming from. It's like you only won in our house one time. But if they win twice after calling it Burrowhead, it almost kind of cements it as Burrowhead.
But you almost put Kansas City in the position where like they can't lose now.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just. I mean, I'll just say this from like, well, I'm going to call myself a neutral fan, but we all know that's not true. But as a neutral, I'm just. I mean, like,
we don't know.
It fires me up. I'm like, damn, dude, this is
10-1. 10-1.
This is going to be a great game, right? No, I'm invested in this. We'll talk about that later. By the way, I want to talk to everyone. Anyone in chat who is a degenerate like me, we're going to talk about hedging later on in the show because I have the opportunity to hedge my Chiefs 10-1 bet. And I don't know if I want to, but we're going to talk about it.
Okay, if Burrow goes 0-2 in Super Bowl, is he the next Elway? Well, Elway won some. That means that that means they went 0-2 and that he's going to.
Well, Elway was like didn't win early. They're better examples though.
Well,
not winning early.
Marino
didn't. Well, Marino went to 1 and didn't win the 1. Then he never went back. Jim Kelly. Frank Tarkenton,
Peyton Manning early in his career, went to 1, lost 1.
The hello for real here will be
Peyton Manning never lost 1. He won 1, then lost 1.
No, he lost 1. He lost to the
2.
Saints.
He lost 2.
Well, I'm saying he won his first one. He beat the Bears, then he lost to the Saints, then he lost to the Seahawks, then
Rex Grossman.
But he only went to 1, right?
Rex Grossman only went to 1, yeah.
Well,
I mean, come on, Trent Dilfer only went to 1. Like, look, there are some quarterbacks who are like,
we don't talk about that enough. Hold on, wait. How good was that defense? Rex Grossman went to a Super Bowl. Here's the thing. Here's the thing that's even that defense went to a Super Bowl, and Lovie Smith was the coach. And everything we know about Lovie Smith in the last 20 years tells us it wasn't him carrying that team, dog.
That team to me. So I grew up in Chicago, so I remember that team. I hate the Bears, by the way. Another thing you guys need to know about me is I grew up in Chicago, but I hate the Bears.
So Brian Urlacher. Ray Lewis combo picture is what we need to gamble for next year.
No, I love the picture of Bettis running over Brian Urlacher, though. It's in one of my favorites. I should have it up here. No, that team, I'll tell you what that happened, because I feel like that Bears team was like this year's Giants team if they made it to the Super Bowl, right? It's one of those things like, wait, what? Like, how do they keep winning? They've won the turnover battle by $1 billion that year, and they just kept doing it in the playoffs.
Oh, was that the Peanut? No, that wasn't Peanut Tillman year.
I believe it was the Peanut.
No, that wasn't. That was Peanut Tillman year?
Devin Peanut was on that team.
No, that was 07.
That was Devin Hester. That was Devin Hester year.
Devin Hester. Peanut Tillman, I think, was like 2013, though. That was Jay Cutler Bears.
Yeah, Jay Cutler.
Was he not on the team?
I think he
wasn't punch out Peanut at that time, though.
Wasn't like Lance Briggs on that defense? And
it was like Lance Briggs, Brian Urlacher.
I think he was in both.
He was on both, but he wasn't punch out Peanut. You know what I mean? Like Peanut Tillman had that crazy year in like 2012 where like everybody acted like he invented punching for the ball. Like that was
the Bears did this thing. They perfected the art of holding a guy up and then knocking the ball out.
Punching it out. Yeah. He was there forever, bro. Charles Tillman was there forever.
He was there for a while. Jacob Bell here says, watching a Steeler fan argue to a Browns fan about his QB having a worse situation is absolute gold.
All I better say is, Jacob, you better not be cheering for the Ravens. Okay? You better be a Bengals fan. That's the only people. You better be a Bengals fan. Because if you sitting high and body with your quarterback unsigned right now, oh, please, I don't want to hear it. You can talk about Lamar contract. At least he got one. You know what I mean? Like
season hasn't started. Season hasn't started. We'll see. Tony and Q coming out fire up today. Gonna be a fun season.
See, and I thought today we weren't. I thought we were gonna be peaceful today. But I'll you know what? And I'll take blame.
Oh, you threw the first shot. What are you talking about?
I did. No. Peaceful. That's right. I'm saying I thought when I started the show, I'm like, oh, we'll be peaceful today, and then I took the first shot, so it's on me. I'll take the blame on that one.
What are you talking about? I thought it'd be peaceful. Oh yeah, I also thought I'd just start some in the middle of the show. Exactly. You guys look. It wasn't even like we made it an hour before you threw the shot. We made it 10 seconds into the show.
It was like 2 minutes.
No thought in your mind that we were gonna have a peaceful show. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Fire Pile says his brother's podcast. No, it's their podcast.
The Kelsey podcast. What is it?
Yeah, it's the Kelsey Brothers podcast. Yeah.
Kelsey Brothers podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
How do they have time to have a podcast when they always deep in the playoffs?
That's what I was thinking.
Oh,
Travis Kelce.
that's a great point. Actually, this is great. I love this point.
Podcast appearances this week. He's on a tour.
If it's a Niners Bengals Super Bowl, like that podcast is directly responsible for them not making it to the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, like, come on now. They're both in the conference championship game. Like,
yeah.
How do they have time to do this?
You're taking to record that podcast, maybe 1 more hour of film room. Just saying.
He also was on. Travis Kelce was also on I Am Athlete this week. He's just doing a whole tour.
I mean, does Travis Kelce really need to practice what they have him doing the Chiefs offense anymore? Travis, run under. Travis, be bigger than the dude in front of you and catch the ball over him. They don't run plays no more.
Find the soft spot and just sit. That's all you just sit
Hey,
there.
Travis, just follow Pat Mahomes. Like, do the thing with Pat, dog. That's freestyle bars right there. He's not rapping it off structure no more. You know, he's in his Lil Wayne, the drought season, you know, where Wayne was just freestyling professionally on like studio albums. That's what Travis Kelce does professionally. He lines up there and he freestyles to the beat every play, and he just be open.
Yeah.
Tom Brooks here says, great show. Even if it has Ravens, Browns, and Steelers host.
Well, we think it's a great show, even though there are a lot of Bengals fans in chat. So how about that?
well,
Tony,
it's still a great show. The community, though. The community, you know, 3/4 of it are terrible.
Yeah.
Nova here says, Tony, you root for 49ers. They have the next Palomado.
Hufangu or whatever his name. Hufangu. I forgot what his name is, but no, he's great. I mean, that whole Niners defense is fun to watch.
Why can't we just be like, hey, he's good? I like him.
He's
good. Why can't we be why we gotta go like, hey, man?
He's trained by Palomalo. Like Palomalo and him are like, they're like.
Like, he reminds me of Troy Polamalu. That's what we could go to. We ain't got to say he the next one.
Putting that pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a rookie and he is very good.
He's very good, and he reminds us of Troy Polamalu at times, but that don't mean we got to say he's Troy Polamalu. You know what I mean? Like we can have some restraint at sports media, you know. But nah, we gonna go out here and say they got the next Polamalu and they got the next Tom Brady on their roster right now.
Okay, Professor Chaos here says, didn't the Bills or Vikings make and lose?
Jim Kelly. He would be the next Jim Kelly. That would be the phrase to go.
How will everyone look at Bengals if the same thing happened?
So you're telling me the Bengals are going to go to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row? Is that what you're telling me?
He's saying,
is that what you're
how would you look at
it's
that?
4 and lose all 4, but yeah, that would involve going.
Yeah, you see, that would be cool. Like the second one, that would be cool. But like, even though Ace is like, hey, 4 Super Bowl trips, nah, you lose that 3rd and 4th one, you're gonna be sick of that real quick, dog.
It did, yeah.
The novelty will wear off.
I just can't see Joe Burrow losing 4 straight Super Bowls. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I bet they couldn't see Jim Kelly doing it either. You know, Jim Kelly was mighty good.
That 4th one is the first Super Bowl. What?
It was never even Jim Kelly's fault. It was like missed field goals, or Dallas was just so much better.
Well, they got into the thing where like just Dallas, it was a juggernaut of Dallas. And you're like, ah, shit, we ran into a juggernaut. By the end. The first one they should have won. The first one was close between the Bills. Well, I shouldn't say they should have won. They kept it real
close. Was that right?
No, that was the Giants one.
Oh, that's Giants. So it was like Giants.
Actually,
and then...
did they keep the first one close or did they keep the second one close? One of them was a blowout. One of them
I know 2 of them were just ass weapons.
Well, the one with the Cowboys, I think it was the Cowboys. The Cowboys was an
like 95,
93.
94
was the Niners beating the Chargers. 95 was the Steelers.
That
and
was
Cowboys.
like young Cowboys too, like on the rise. Like oh god, a young Michael Irvin. That's oh god. Oh god.
Yeah.
Okay, before we dive into the Bengals,
Troy Aikman had to do nothing, dog. He just had to breathe that that team was going to win the Super Bowl.
Quick. What do you guys think about the NFC? Who wins?
Eagles.
I got the Eagles. I mean, that defensive line that they got over there, they got a better team. Jalen Hurts, the receivers, they got running backs. What don't the Eagles have? Offensive line. I mean, to me, it's the Eagles. I don't even think it's close, honestly.
Yeah. I'm getting a little feedback, by the way. I think for me, it's my heart says I want it to be the Niners. I want that to happen. But my
always
head
does
says-
something though at this point. You know what I mean? Like this is about the point where the clock strikes midnight or whatever foolery time that he's pulling away with at quarterback. Like this is usually where it comes back and bites him in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, look, at some point, I think everyone knows this. At some point, Brock Purdy's turning back into Brock Purdy. Rookie quarterbacks don't do this. Rookie quarterbacks don't take their teams to the Super Bowl. There's a reason why a rookie quarterback has never started the Super Bowl. At some
He's
point,
going to have a bad game eventually.
you just get to a point where you're like, "Yep, there's a problem."
That's why I'm like, the playoffs. If you have a bad game, it's not like you playing against like the Jets. Like, well, the Jets are good, but like all my bad teams I use are good this year. It's not like you playing the Texans. There we go. Yeah. But you go into a bad game against the Eagles. I mean, we saw what happened against what they did to the Giants.
I think Eagles. I agree. But I think it's closer than you guys think because the Niners defense is so good. I think it's just, I can see the Niners provoking turnovers. Like think about who. So I think proven was that the Eagles, now that the season's over, the Eagles had the easiest schedule, right? That's just in a good division, right? We're thinking about Giants went to the playoffs, Cowboys went to the playoffs, even with that. Yeah. The teams that they struggled the most, this is the Eagles, was against teams that were top 15-ish defense. Those teams were either close or lost. Now the question is, the losses, a lot of them came with
Gardner
Minshew, right? So what do you do with those? It's very hard to. So this is like a legit opponent, great defense, big challenge. We'll see. I do think the Eagles win because I think the wheels
are close to coming off from this whole Brock Purdy thing. Like Brock Purdy did go in the 7th round for a reason. And I think he's better than like what some people are giving him credit for. But he did go in the 7th round because he does do crazy sometimes. And he was looking like he was on the verge of doing crazy last week, but it just didn't matter that much because the Cowboys decided that they were going to be even more like incompetent in a late game situation. But yeah, the wheels are close to coming off of that. I think Shanahan, he could do a lot. You can put a lot of smoke and mirrors around it. You can elevate the quarterback position, but when you get to the conference championship, it matters, right? I mean, like the modern example of a bad quarterback getting to a Super Bowl is Nick Foles, but you have to remember Nick Foles only was able to advance because he was also playing Case Keenum in that championship game, right? Like. You know what I mean? So it usually you have to have a solid enough quarterback. And the odds that Jalen Hurts is going to have a bad game that costs his team the game versus Brock Purdy, I mean, like I would take Jalen Hurts every day.
Not only that, the defense, right? The defense of the Eagles legit.
Brock Purdy every day that he would have. I didn't.
No, I got you.
Right, but yeah.
But the defense of the Eagles are legit, and that's the other thing, right? It's not like a cupcake defense or a mid defense. The defense of the Eagles is legit, so that also.
And to be fair, like the defense of the Cowboys is also legit that they played last week.
Not as good.
It's not like they had success against them. Like they didn't have that much success against them, right? Like they were struggling offensively most of that game. The game had like 1 touchdown in it or 2 touchdowns in it. So, it again, I think we're talking about Brock Purdy because like it's fun when quarterbacks rise and we see unlimited potential and we say they could be anything. But the reality is he's not going to elevate you above a great defense, right? Like he's Brock Purdy at the end of the day. And with Jalen Hurts, he has the tools that can help him rise, right? You got Devonta Smith, you got AJ Brown. Yes, they have Deebo Samuel on that side, and yes, you have Christian McCaffrey, but the Eagles just have so much at so many different positions. I mean, why did everybody decide to cut their best corner and give them to the Eagles? I have no idea, right? But they have like 6 of them, right? Like they got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, they got James Bradbury, they got another dude
Darius Slay.
Yeah. Everybody was like, hey, let's just help the Eagles out, give them our best corners, and now they have them. So they have almost everything. I mean, I don't know what Jordan Davis is really doing for that team, but like he's there. You know what I mean?
He's good. He's still, he's just one of those guys. He's just one of those guys who you just always have to think about because he's so big, right? You can't, you just have to make sure he's gonna be a space logger.
I imagine Christian McCaffrey's not going to see a lot of inside zone this week. You know what I mean? Like
he's hurt. He's hurt. Yeah.
So it's.
By the way, Sonny, is this an under game? Is this an under game?
What is the line?
46.5, I want to say.
Under.
Yeah, you like that? This is a game played in the 20s, right?
I think
20s, like the low 20s.
2023, I think is the game.
That's high for a conference championship game.
No, the other one's 48.
Two good defenses, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
The only thing I worry about, with that over under is easy points for the Eagles on turnover.
This feels like 17-20 or like 35-7.
Right.
Damn, 35-7.
No, I mean 35-7 is 35-7 is turnovers and give the Eagles easy points, and then the Niners.
Like either this is like really close or this is an ass whooping and the Eagles win.
Damn, that will be crazy.
Yeah, you got to think about it. 49ers barely beat the Cowboys, bro.
Yeah.
I mean,
if Brock Purdy, like, you know, it's like with the whole thing we were waiting on, like Matt Stafford to have one of those games, and he had it, but it was against a team that was like incompetent against him. If Brock Purdy has one of those games where he decides he's going to look like a rookie and throw a couple bad interceptions, this is not the team.
No,
this is not the team to do that to.
They cannot be on the underside of the turnover margin. If they are, they agree. Absolutely. Anyway. Real quick, a couple of super chats here. Is Mahomes underplaying the injury?
Yes.
I think so.
It's a high ankle sprain. I mean, you don't play the week after a ankle sprain unless it's the conference championship game and you need it. Yeah.
You laugh. This is from Ira. You laugh about him being a healthy scratch every week. Roll your eyes and dismissive when I said he should start. Happy to see Carmen proving you wrong.
He's got stats. That's got to be Clemson stats. Like, it's like, no, man. Like, no, there's nobody out here like, yo, diehard Jackson Carmen fan.
Like, who here was talking about Carmen?
There's too many.
None of us was talking about.
No, he might be mad about something Ace said on his. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. We have not talked about Jackson Carmen all year.
I was like the only Jackson Carmen guy taking bullets for him last year when everybody said bench the kid.
This is the classic
I've never been
internet
a Jackson Carmen hater.
No, this is the classic internet. Hey, I saw some words I'm familiar with, and I invented a response to say what I think you really said. You know what I mean? Like that's a classic. Like, yeah, nobody here was talking about Jackson Carmen. We wasn't checking for him.
All you got to do is go to Twitter and search Jackson Carmen 0 sacks. I'm pretty sure you'll see a lot of.
This is like when Georgia.
A lot of me in there.
There's gonna like Georgia was like, hey man, they say we was gonna be 7-5. Sir, where did you find that? Like,
and then the crazy thing is, like, you can tell these guys don't really know about Jackson Carmen because they can't spell his name right. It's Carman. Come on, guys, let's get it together. I know y'all on the Carmen bandwagon now, but it's Carman.
That's crazy.
Trey Ball here says these kids are gonna grow up thinking the Bengals are winners. Rich Eisen. Ace, I'm not even a Bengal fan and thought that's
nasty. That is nasty. You would think that the Bengals never won anything. Goodness. Carson Palmer didn't exist.
But they did have that Chargers kind of like they had that Charger funk on them though. You know what I mean?
That's the thing.
That's the thing. It's like you can win, but then if you don't win in certain situations, then you get that Charger funk. And I mean, that's almost as reputation wise, that's almost as bad as not winning at all.
Right.
But we're not the Lions. We're not that.
Right.
Yeah, you weren't the Browns, even though the Browns didn't win the playoff game before the Bengals did, and that's right.
I didn't want to throw you under the bus, so I didn't say it. I skipped over it.
I had to get that one laugh in. You know, we still did technically with it. Now y'all went further when y'all finally won y'all's, but you know, who knows? Rashad Higgins gets that call a touchdown. We might be talking about Baker Mayfield Super Bowl champion. Who knows how the season shakes
out? Not to go back.
Bubble champ.
Yeah, it's a bubble. That was a bubble. A bubble.
Anything could have happened in the bubble. Anything could have happened. If Baker Mayfield won the Super Bowl in the bubble, I would believe you. Okay, that's where it would have broke the reality.
Remember, bubble games don't count. So technically speaking, the Browns still have yet to win a playoff game.
Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. That's happened before.
Why Bengals talk so much? They haven't won anything. This is from PU.
Look, dog, we got Joe Burrow for the next decade. Good luck with that holding up. Good luck.
They're in back-to-back championship games. Like, you expect, what do you think is going to be humble at this point? They're
when you have a chance to win it all, you're probably going to talk like you can.
Yep.
Especially like late January when like 4 teams are playing.
See, I'm going to say this. I understand the fan base, right? whoever you got, the Super Shatter, whatever fan base you're from, Ravens, Steelers, Browns. If your team is good, fan base talk even sometimes even for no reason. I can see Lions fans that had never won anything for forever, right? They were good this
We
year.
talk like if your team's won anything matters. It don't matter. We're not talking about your team. We talk about they team right now. Like it don't matter.
No. I guess the point that I was saying, fan base just talk, right? They hype themselves. The thing that I was surprised was the actual players, right? Like the actual players before the game talking.
They have won one thing though, and that is an AFC championship game against Kansas City. So that's probably why. You know what I mean?
That was the surprising part. Like, and we will talk more about this, but that was the fan base, like all fan base. Like, look at the Jets preseason, right? The Jets fan base, right? Think Detroit next year's fan base will be the same way. And pick a fan base.
I'll just tell you this. I'll tell you this right now. After Kenny wins the AFC Championship game next year, Steeler fans are gonna be going crazy. So don't even worry about like 1 year from now. Can you imagine how crazy I'm gonna be? It's gonna be nuts.
Maybe they're gonna show up to this podcast for the first time in a while. Burrow has an opportunity to beat Allen.
I cannot. I'm excited for Kenny Pickett bringing it home, being a championship, winning the MVP in his championship game for the Pittsburgh Maulers in the USFL. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that. You know, following the stellar pipeline of old Steelers that become spring football legends, like was it Sammy Coates? Shout out to him.
Good player.
Landry Jones. You know, they got Martavius Bryant in the XFL. You know,
tore his ACL, so he never made it. But I agree with the sentiment there.
And Martavius Bryant, you know, those old Steelers really dominate the XFL.
Well, listen, Kenny is good enough. He'll win back. You know, that's the thing with Kenny. He's probably not going to take the year off. He'll go right from the NFL right into the XFL and back.
He'll probably go. He'll probably be. He's going to be the first guy.
I agree.
You know what? You know what, Tony? I think he has the talent to be the first guy to like win one spring league and then like jump into the one in the middle of the season because they don't start the same time, and then win the USFL. He could win both of them, be the summer league champ, have 2 belts, the undisputed champ of the spring. I can see that for Kenny Pickett. You know, the weather's warm. He doesn't have to worry about stuff that his hands get in the way. I think Kenny Pickett could be an all-time great spring football guy. Him and Stetson Bennett, man, you talk about legends. Man,
crazy.
Do it.
Let me finish here with the super chat. The 3 guys most likely to finish ahead of him in the MVP voting. No, was Brady can beat the Raiders, Steelers, and Rams. Wait, no way Brady can beat the Raiders, Steelers, and Rams. I guess that was one of when he went to the Super Bowl, right? He beat the Raiders, Steelers, and the Rams in the Super Bowl.
He's beaten almost every combination.
No, Brady
in the first Super Bowl, and the one that they beat the Rams. Didn't he go through that like that?
That was
the Steelers wasn't the conference championship.
Steelers was a conference championship game, but Brady got hurt that game. Bledsoe played.
Okay.
Damn, Brady didn't even play the whole game and kick your ass. That's crazy. That's crazy. He didn't even play the whole game and still kicked your ass.
He didn't play. He played literally one play. That was Drew Bledsoe.
I would not brag about that. One play. That's all it took. He just needed to throw the ball one time. Was like, nah, my homeboy got this. Let me let the backup come in.
Why I try? I don't even
know.
You know what I mean?
In the Eagles 49ers
disrespectful. They came back and played the next game. Like, that's disrespectful.
Should we also consider who is the tighter with the lure if so Purdy is gonna go crazy against the Eagles?
That reminds me of that Stevie Johnson tweet. I don't know if you guys remember this. When after he like dropped a pass to win against the Steelers, that was a long time ago. Stevie Johnson tweeted, "I praise you 24/7, and this is how you're gonna do me." Thanks though.
Yeah.
It was
imagine
just my favorite tweet.
Imagine a Hufanga pick 6 to clinch the game.
Don't
remind him about that. I remember a
I would love it.
Script. Yeah. Anyway, Ace, do you think we find a way to keep the Migos in the future? If not, who will be gone?
I think they do. I mean, it really comes down to Tyler Boyd. I think like Tyler Boyd could be the guy that's going. You could give T. Higgins an extension. Jamar's still on his rookie contract. But Tyler Boyd is going to take for him to be a team player and want to take less to come back. So I think that they could try to find a way at least for another year, but possibly after that year, because I think Boyd, if I'm not mistaken, they could have $10 million in cap savings if they were to move on from him. Yeah. So,
hey Tony. I think I found my next agenda after we officially get Lamar Jackson off the Ravens.
Yeah.
It's time to get T. Higgins the bag. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's time to make sure that T. Higgins becomes the highest paid wide receiver.
That's right.
In
Top
the
two, not two for T.
NFL, baby.
Top two, not two.
Stop slandering my boy. He's top 5. We need to start pushing that agenda. The Bengals have 2 top 5 wide receivers right now. Say 2 number 1 wide receivers whenever you bring it up. They got 1, and a 2. You know what I mean? We need to push up the price for T. Higgins because
Tony, let's pay some bills and then Ace, you can have.
Let's do it. All right, we got to talk to you about our friends over at True Classic. Men have been plagued with bad style for far too long. Department store tees are just not designed to make you look good. They cut corners to give you $5 shirts without quality fabric, and the premium brands that do provide a good fit mark up the price to an insane amount, costing you as much as $60 per tee. Our sponsor, True Classic, is here to save the day, literally. Save big and upgrade your style. For a limited time only, get 25% off True Classic with our exclusive link at trueclassic.com/AFC North Talk. That's trueclassic.com/AFC North Talk. There are some men who just always look good in t-shirts. Most companies make shirts for those guys and forget about everybody else with a normal body. True Classic designed tees to make all the fellas out there feel confident in their clothing. Abs, flabs, dad bod, past the dad bod. With True Classic shirts, you'll get the best fit. We've seen you wear your ratty shirts for years. Little pit stains, micro holes, faded color. You can even find softer comfort with better looks in so many different colors at True Classic. True Classic tees taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. This is a desirable look that can be achieved with every body type. They give you the wide shoulder, taper bottom look that we're all looking for, and the quality is elite. True Classic offers other menswear as well, ranging from polos to workout shirts to boxer briefs designed to cradle your boys and eliminate discomfort. They make it super easy to build out your wardrobe with premium quality. If you purchase a 6-pack or even a 3-pack, the price per shirt is far more reasonable than any of those other marked up premium brands you see floating around. And for my listeners who are well endowed, they have long options for tall guys, and up to 3XL. True Classic also has a 100% risk-free guarantee with a 30-day return policy. The response to these t-shirts is overwhelmingly positive with over 70,000 5-star reviews. It's no wonder these shirts are becoming a men's go-to. Skinny dudes, big dudes, buff dudes, my dudes, True Classic has you covered, and you get 25% off True Classic with our exclusive link, trueclassic.com/AFC North Talk.
And big things to Adam Holland, Duncan Sulu, Luis Cousin. Thank you for being the top tier on the Patreon. Thank you for all the Patreon. Thank you for everything you guys do. If you want to support us a little bit more, the link is down below for our Patreon. And make sure you hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, okay, Ace.
Yes.
Your time to shine, bro. This is an interesting game. Obviously, Mahomes coming in injured, which it sucks. To be fair, it sucks. I hate that he's injured. Not only because obviously, the rooting interest, but just for the fun of a good game, right? Just the fact of a good game. So it's gonna definitely be interesting. How Lou Anarumo is going to adjust to Mahomes being injured and what he's going to throw to Mahomes. What do you think the Bengals bring to this game?
Well, I will say I'm feeling very similar to how I felt last week. There wasn't kind of this resulting anxiousness or fear or anything like that. I just kind of was cool, calm, and collected just because of Joe Burrow, this team, just the way that they're playing. And for me, when I thought about it last week, I'm like, this is a team, this is a situation that we've gone into and had success in the past. But the one thing that I just keep thinking about is this team knowing that they're one game away back from the same opportunity that they had last year. And they know for a fact that more than likely, guys like Jesse Bates, Jermaine Pratt are not going to be there. And these guys are friends. These guys hang out. These guys are a really close, tight-knit group. And they want to at least try to go out this last year with a bang. And so for me, I think that kind of starts there. Then you kind of look at the history between the Chiefs and us. this Bengals team has just never been scared of this team. You know, the Chiefs have been pretty much the standard for the AFC. You know, you talk about 5 straight AFC championships. You know, before that, the only person that was able to take them out was Tom Brady. He leaves, goes to the NFC, and then they pretty much take over. And I heard a funny analogy from the NFL Network, and they talked about it being like Britney Spears, and then Christina Aguilera comes out of nowhere. No one's expecting it. And I think that is something somewhat similar to this matchup, because everybody thought that Pat Mahomes was just going to rule for the next decade, right? A couple years ago, you probably would have just thought that. This team just knows that they can beat Pat Mahomes and kind of remembers the situations that they've been in against him. They've been, you know, behind the 8 ball twice against this team, down early, to almost, you could almost argue, pretty much in a blowout, and they were able to muster a comeback. The last game, they led for most of the game, were able to stop them from coming back. I think this game, they have the confidence going in that they know that they can beat this team. I think when it comes to Lou and that defense, they know that they can confuse Mahomes no matter what, right? The drop 8s, sending some pressure on them. I don't think that they're actually going to send that much pressure. Lou doesn't really like to really blitz that much, but I still feel like you're going to see a lot of zone. And one of the things I saw that was interesting from a stats standpoint is against zone defenses this year, Pat Mahomes has thrown 12 touchdowns, and I believe it's 7 interceptions. So he has kind of struggled against zone. Like, he's killed man defense, and that's not something that we really play. I do think Lou will test him. I think that this is going to be a chess match for sure. And I think that that's what gives the Bengals the advantage, because you're going to have Lou. He's going to do certain things with his rules on defense. They're going to make sure that they try to take Kelsey out of the game. They're going to slow him down. You can't take him out of the game, but they'll focus on Kelsey. And I think outside of that, they're going to have to prove that these other receivers can beat us. Look, before they had Tyreek Hill, I know Chiefs fans love to say Mahomes had his greatest season ever this year, 5,000 yards and all of that, without Tyreek Hill. I get that. But I'm not banking on MVS or any of these other guys to really, when the game is on the line, come down with it, because he didn't even believe that himself last week. I mean, look how many targets that Kelsey had. And in these moments, when you're in the playoffs, it matters what weapons you have, bro. That's what really it comes down to, is which of those elite players can stand up. And I think that that's what it's really going to come down to. Mahomes with the ankle thing, I think that they'll try to get some pressure on him, but I still think that you don't want to blitz Mahomes, because he's just going to pick apart that zone. For me, on the offensive side of the ball, I am supremely confident, because I don't think that the Chiefs' defense is really the strength of their team. Yes, they've retooled it, but you do have 2 rookie corners out there, right? You're talking about one guy going against Jamar Chase. And here's the other thing is, Spags doesn't really change his defense up that much. According to Chiefs fans, he's not going to allow Trent McDuffie, who I actually like, to really follow Jamar Chase. And if you watch the game last week, Zach Taylor and his staff did something that we've never really seen them do that much this season, with moving Jamar Chase into the backfield, I believe on 10 plays, and also putting him in the slot. So if you're going to tell me that you're going to keep your corners on the outside and Jamar Chase is going to be able to live in the slot, you're in trouble. And if he wants this in the blitz, which he usually does, I think that that's going to be a recipe for disaster. So I don't have any fear that this Bengals offense will score points. I think that that's a major key, because this Chiefs defense, they're not really good when it comes to their defense allowing scores in the red zone. They allow a lot of scores in the red zone. I think that that's where it really starts. If this game is one where the Bengals can start out quickly, I think the Chiefs are in trouble. Like, if the Bengals, because we always take the coin flip. So if we receive, or if they defer to us and we go down and say we get 7 points, and then our defense is able to hold them to 3, and then we can make it a 14-3, like, it's off to the races. I think that it'll be a tough one for the Chiefs to hang on to. And that's what you're going to have to do. You got to take the crowd out of it. But to me, it just really comes down to the fact that Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow, is this a legacy game? I think it is. I mean, obviously Pat Mahomes has won the MVP. Obviously he had a Super Bowl, but you got to remember these are all things that he did before Joe Burrow came into the league. He's 0-3 against Burrow. I think if Burrow is able to get this, I don't think he surpasses him until he gets a Super Bowl. But I think it's not really too far-fetched to think that these guys are both on the same level. Joe Burrow's outplayed him, all 3 times when they've played each other, which obviously Pat Mahomes doesn't play defense. I don't really care about that narrative because if you're an elite quarterback, you should be balling out in those big moments no matter what. So I think the Bengals are going to be able to do that. I think Joe Mixon is going to be able to establish the run too. So my JP run the last time he saw this team had 100+ yards on the ground. And we all saw Joe Mixon last week against the Bills. So this is a Bengals team that can win in a multifaceted number of ways. Let's say they do get up 14-3. Well, guess what? Then they can pound the rock with Joe Mixon and take time off of the clock as well. So I think that those are things that they'll be able to do. A lot of Chiefs fans are talking about that they want to run the ball, which that was their whole excuse kind of last year is Andy got up. He didn't run the ball, which is understandable. He does kind of get into that sometimes. And so they ran the ball a lot. They had success last time, but I feel like a lot of the reason that they had that success was Lou kind of wanted them to run the ball instead of leaving it into Mahomes' hands. So I think that they'll try to do that. And obviously, as Bengals fans, we know our run defense is stout. Like these guys are talking about Pacheco, and I think the kid is good, right? I think he was a steal for them, solid running back. I probably have him as a top 15 running back, but he's not Nick Chubb. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not these guys that the Bengals have completely been able to shut down. So if that is their goal, I think that that's a bad plan for them. And then obviously Pat Mahomes not being 100%, that's going to be a wild card. But the other thing that gives me confidence is, and a lot of people aren't saying this Bengals staff has come a long way from where they were, I think, at the beginning of the season and even last year, right? This was a team that was struggling against the cover 2. They've completely figured all of that out. They've added all kind of different things. The game script has just been amazing the last couple of games, and this team is hot. So give me the Bengals. I think the Bengals, this is either going to be a close game or it's going to be one where they win by at least 7. I don't see it any other way. I see the Bengals winning this one, especially the kicker that they have in Kansas City. They don't even want that guy kicking field goals. I know they don't. So I think the Bengals win this one in either a close one or 1 by 7.
Ace, have you been following the spread in this one and how much it's like fluctuated since? It's crazy,
jumping
right?
all over the place.
It's like they can't decide. You know, like is Mahomes? Oh, Mahomes is healthy. Maybe he's. Oh no, he's not healthy. He's going. Oh, no, he's bad. It's literally floated between negative. It's -3 Kansas City, +3.
Yeah, so it should have been a pick 'em. Should have been. You know what? F it, pick 'em.
I think it's back to KC -1, right? Is it back to that?
It's KC -1. Then it was at 1.5. I think it's back at 1. Again, this thing floats. It's going to be crazy. It started. When my book opened it at Pick'em, and then it immediately went to Bengals by 3, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow, that's
a road game. Yeah, look, I think this is a game. I do think the Bengals are a better team. Let me start with that. I think the Bengals are a better team. I thought when the playoffs started, I said this is the Bengals' year to win it all. Right? I was hoping that we spoiled the party for them. Obviously, we couldn't.
Wow.
So
what you can say, Sonny, depending on how this goes, the Ravens played them the toughest out of the AFC.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything for me. But yeah, I know some Ravens fans will say that. I know some Ravens fans will be like, "Yeah, we played them toughest," and whatever. Okay, saying that, like I said earlier,
you're on mute. You're on mute. We can't hear you.
You can talk yourself into, hey man, we're 1 fumble away from being in the Super Bowl.
Well, not a Super Bowl, but I would.
Well, no, because you can say if you came the closest to beating the eventual champs or the eventual champs of the conference, and the other games weren't necessarily close, I feels like that was the real championship game. Yeah. Isn't that what they said with the Bills, right? The Bills and the Chiefs, that was the real championship game last year.
Yeah, I guess you say that. Anyway, saying that, I will say this, and we brought it up before. I was surprised at the Bengals players that were talking. Now, they might be talking because they know Kansas City is coming a little wounded. That you know, I think they feel like they're the better team. Which again, I do think they're the better team. I personally had less problem with the fan base being all hyped up and, you know, having all these Bengals fans in my mentions and whatever. I actually think that's how you should be as a fan, right? I actually think like that's fine. Players, you know, especially before the getting upset team, yeah, that has backfired in the past, you know, a lot. And the thing is, this is I said this earlier in this year. This is not the best Chiefs team that we have seen since Mahomes been in the league, right? It's definitely not even close to the best team that we've seen from the Chiefs. I actually believe the best team was the team that lost to the Patriots that year on that offside.
Yeah,
I thought that was the best Chiefs team that we've seen, right? But anyway, if Joe Mixon and Pierre, I feel like I said this for the third week in a row. If running game is established by the Bengals, game over. Game over. The only hope the Chiefs has is making them one-dimensional. And once they make them one-dimensional, is control the big play and limit them to 3 points in the red zone. That is the Chiefs' chance here. If the defense can hold the running attack to an average 3.3-ish, 3.5, or around there, right? And Bengals are still going to move the ball, so control the big play. And then when you're in the red zone, not allow touchdown, then you have a shot. On the other side, how does Patrick Mahomes react, right? He's hurt. He's clearly hurt. We saw that game. He was hobbling. He was like, he was a warrior. Like, I saw Patrick Mahomes and I gained so much respect. Like, he was pissed about leaving the game. And I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like, that was like amazing warrior mentality. That being said, the Bengals are a different team. The Bengals front is good. You know, they can push. Orlando Brown, God bless him. Obviously, he was an ex-Raven. He wants to get all the money. And he ain't going to be a Chief next year because he wants top left tackle money. Somebody will give it to him. But he was getting cooked in that Jacksonville game. And he's about to get cooked by somebody else in this game, which is not going to be good for Pat Mahomes. So I think at the end of the day, they need to help Orlando Brown over there, chip the left tackle, which again doesn't help your offense because your receivers are good, not great, right? Your receivers are good, not great. All of them. We put all of these receivers, they're good, not great. Kelsey's a great tight end / receiver, but the rest of the receivers are good, not great. And on the other side, the receivers are great. The running back is great. The offensive line, as we spoke last week, Carmen, he played really good. It looks like he's a natural left tackle. Who knows if he's going to be a Pro Bowl in the future, but as of right now, he was good enough he was a solid left tackle, right? The other guys, that is my question, right? The interior guy, I forgot the guy that is playing guard.
Sharping.
Yes,
Sharping.
because Chris Jones, he should not touch the edge. I know Kansas City likes to put him in. No. He needs to be on top of that guy and say, Chris, you better eat. Remind what the Bengals said. You better eat that guy alive. You're supposed to be one of the best D tackle, if not the best D tackle this year. You better eat. You better eat him alive. If Chris Jones is zero impact in this game, it's over. Another way you can see it's over, if there's no pressure by Kansas City, especially through the inside.
I disagree with you there. To me, it can't just be pressure. They got pressure the last couple times. They had no problem getting pressure.
Okay, pressure.
They got to get his ass down.
Yeah,
that's the problem. They couldn't get his ass down. Yeah.
Agree. Yeah. But my point is, the pressure. Okay, so Joe Burrow has been magician, like escaping from the pocket. Ace, you need to go.
Yep, I gotta head out, man. All right. Date night, fellas. Take it easy.
Yeah, I'm right behind you. I'm an hour behind you.
Okay. So
Friday night episodes. The wives are not happy.
Okay, let me wrap this up with this.
Yeah. No, I got another hour. We're good. You don't have to go short. I got another hour.
Joe Burrow has been a magician, escaping the pressure throughout the playoff run and all that.
Yep.
But where he's escaping the pressure from is from the edges.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder pressure from the inside, which is the worst pressure a quarterback can get. Because that forces you to panic to one side, and then that's when you get a sack from an edge guy that really didn't do much, just happens to be there, right? That we see that all the time. Pressure to the inside, the quarterback tries to run to the side, and a guy happens to be there and brings him down. That's what I'm saying. Chris Jones brings pressure to the middle. It can become a problem. To be honest, guys, sadly, I don't see it. I think the Bengals win this game. I actually think the Bengals win comfortably. I'm gonna go.
Really?
I'm gonna go exactly the same way that okay, so I feel exactly the same way that I felt last week with Bills. Right, I said like,
Yeah.
Bengals by 10. I'm gonna go Bengals by 10 again.
Bengals by 10 again. So I mean, obviously, the last time these teams played, well, I shouldn't say last time. Every time these two teams played, it's a 3-point game. Right? I mean, they played 3 games, all decided by 3. Now, obviously, the Mahomes injury, like you talked about, is going to have a major impact in this one. I will say the last time these two teams played, there were 2 punts in that game total. Right? I mean, like neither team had any problem moving the ball the last time these two teams played. Right? Even we talk about like all the drop 8 stuff and the confusing Mahomes and all of that. Even all that, I mean, the Chiefs move the ball, and they don't have a problem with that, right? The problem is when you have 2 punts in a game, it comes down to like who has the ball last, or, and this is where it really screwed up for the Chiefs, who makes the big mistakes. And for the Chiefs, it was they had the Kelsey turnover, which really was the difference in the game because they were that was like a drive to take a 2-possession lead potentially, and they fumbled it away and gave away the lead. And then they had the missed field goal at the end, right? Those are 2 just give up scores. The Bengals only had 1. That was the turnover on downs within the 5-yard line. So, you can boil this down. If this is going to be another shootout type game, you can just boil it down to that, right? Who makes the big mistake? And I think what we've seen from the Chiefs in the playoffs is that they're, as I said after that Ravens game, like they just always do it. Like the defense just is so much about making the play right when they need it. I will say though, like to break this game down, going like, okay, Bengals offense versus Chiefs defense, I think you hit the nail on the head, Sonny. I think it's all about Joe Burrow's pocket movement. That has really defined this matchup. Really, I think in all 3 of them. The Chiefs get pressure in these games. There's no problem getting pressure on Burrow. The problem is bringing Joe Burrow down.
Wait. Pressure better than sacks, right?
No. Well, this is where it's funny, because this is where my argument starts. But this is where my argument does start to fall apart a bit, which is like, my argument is that pressures lead to sacks. If you consistently get pressure on a guy, that's eventually going to turn into sacks. But in this matchup in particular, right, and this is like the outlier that proves the rule. 25 pressures the last 2 games. Right? Take the AFC Championship game and the game they played this year. 25 pressures in those 2 games for the Kansas City Chiefs. 25 pressures in those 2 games. Just 2 sacks. That's an 8% pressure to sack rate. Which is insane. To put that number into context, 8% pressure to sack ratio for Joe Burrow. Show you how good Burrow's been about navigating around this pressure. Patrick Mahomes was the best quarterback in the league this year as far as navigating that 10% pressure to sack ratio. Joe Burrow, again, in these 2-game sample size, but again, in these matchups, 8%. Joe Burrow on the season. If you look at Joe Burrow's 2022 numbers, how good has Joe Burrow been over the course of this season? 22% pressure to sack ratio for Joe Burrow in 2022. Now, I do think that number is probably a little skewed because I think we would all agree that one of the things Burrow's gotten really good at, especially in the second half of the year, is being better about navigating the pocket, right? How often did we talk about early in the year those eyes coming down for Burrow as he was kind of navigate the pocket, and then he would lead to sack and that kind of thing. He's been much better in that way. But I agree with you, Sonny. Chris Jones is the key to this game for the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe overall, he has really been in hell the last couple times these 2 teams have played. Not because he can't get pressure, he wins. The problem for Chris Jones is in any other context, you would say, wow, great game, 8 pressures in 2 games. That's pretty good, right? But 8 pressures, 0 sacks. It reminds me of like a young Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree, before he really turned the corner, and I know that's a pun when we come to edge rushers, but like before Bud Dupree turned the corner, Bud was very much a pressure, not sack guy, right? Couldn't get to double digits. What he ever is a 6 sack, 7 sack guy, right? Always around the quarterback, always, speed rush off the edge, can't get there. Look, this has to turn into, we talk about, Jackson Carman, and look how well he played. Max Sharping, look how well they played. Adeniji, look how well he played last week. One thing that's kind of worrying when we analyze this game is we're doing this kind of 1-game sample size of they played really well last week, therefore they are good players now. Now that may be the case, right? Obviously, you'd rather your guys play good than not. But if the Chiefs are going to win this football game, that's what was the storyline going into last week. The Bengals offensive line has to be the storyline coming out of this one. We have to be coming out of this one going, man, why didn't we talk about the Bengals offensive line? Why do we just assume that 1 game in Buffalo meant this offensive line was going to be good? And it starts with Chris Jones, because as we talked about with this Bengals or the Bills offensive or defensive line, they don't have a superstar, right? What were we talking about? Like everyone's favorite Gregory Rousseau, right? Yeah, Ed Oliver, right? I mean, these are all like cute players that I think Boogie Basham, right? All these cute players that we all kind of liked coming out of the draft, but none of them are superstars. None of them are even close to superstars yet. Chris Jones
didn't even like.
That's right, exactly. So but we'll all agree, right? Chris Jones is that guy. I mean, he is, and so he's got to take over this game. It might take a little time. I mean, I wouldn't say this is a 1 drive type of deal. Remember, You go back to that Super Bowl a year ago. It took a little bit of time for Raheem Morris and that Rams coaching staff to figure out how to manipulate that Bengals offensive line to get Aaron Donald into those one-on-ones, to get Von Miller into those one-on-ones. It was really into the second half of that game before it really became a problem for the Bengals that they had no answer for, right? And obviously, the storyline of that game in the second half was Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and obviously the sack that ended it. So, but it's got at some point in this game, Chris Jones has to take over, man. This has to be like a Justin Simmons type performance, or Jeffrey Simmons, I should say, not Justin Simmons, Jeffrey Simmons in that Tennessee game. The other thing that the Bengals do really well, though, and the reason why the Chiefs have such problems in this matchup defensively, the middle of the field is a huge problem for the Chiefs. The middle of the field, like Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, trash. I mean, these guys get trashed when they play Burrow. And the reason why is that these are supreme athlete players who get away with who get away with it. Like they read the quarterback's eyes and just want to go there. And then they make up for being wrong with their athleticism. But when you're playing a guy as good as Joe Burrow, he's going to manipulate you away and get you right where you want to be. And then bam, right? You look at the numbers for especially Nick Bolton, 9 for 9 being targeted in the last game. And that was a game without Hayden Hurst, by the way. No Hayden Hurst in the last matchup. He got hurt like the first quarter of this one. So when you have your linebackers in hell, Ace talked about the running game. Yeah, obviously, yeah. When you have to play on your heels and not your toes as a linebacker because you don't know what you're looking at, that again, you got these two linebackers playing on their heels. That's a problem. Now, that may not be such a problem if the defensive line can win at the line of scrimmage. If you have a Frank Clark and a Chris Jones and those other guys, Karlaftis and whatnot, winning at the line of scrimmage, that'll take some of the pressure, especially in the running game, off of those linebackers. It could potentially make that more advantageous. But still, that's what the Bengals do well. And the other thing the Bengals really do well in this game, I don't imagine this is going to be like this is a X player type game, right? We talk about, well, this is a great matchup for Jamar Chase, or this is a great matchup for T. Higgins. This is a T. Higgins game. This is a Jamar Chase game. What I think the Bengals do really well in these matchups in the past is they just target, they find players that they don't like, players that are like, wherever Nick Bolton is, just go his way. The other thing they do is they go, wherever L'Jarius Sneed is, go his way. Because L'Jarius Sneed is that kind of corner that wants to play that physical style, that in-your-face style. But when you're talking about the Bengals, right, we're talking about two number ones in T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, right? You're not out physicaling those guys, especially a L'Jarius Sneed who's, not a great, he's not one of these great shutdown corners in the NFL just yet. And so for me, it's, when I'm watching this Bengals offense against the Chiefs defense, I'm watching guys like L'Jarius Sneed. Can he win at the point of attack? Can he be the kind of player who turns 50-50 balls into legit 50-50 ball situations? L'Jarius Sneed last time gave up 6 catches to 5 different players in the last time these two teams matched up. So he's just got to be played overall. So does Nick Bolton, because those are guys who I think are going to get targeted a lot. The one thing they do smart, by the way, is the Bengals do stay away from Justin Reed, who I think we'll all agree is their best player. On Chiefs, the Chiefs on offense, like Ace hit on this, the drop 8 stuff. No one dropped 8 more in the NFL this year than the Bengals did against the Chiefs, right? That's like their strategy. But don't you guys think that might be a mistake in this game? Like, don't you think the drop 8 stuff might be a mistake because of the lack of mobility by Mahomes? You just want to get pressure on him. Like,
that's what I think. They should go in.
You think so, right?
Well, especially early in the game. You pressure him, and if you see that you're getting cooked, then you go and you revert yourself.
Yeah. So
pressure him.
But remember Super Bowl 55? Remember how we went into that game? Remember the Chiefs' offensive line was trash.
Yeah, but that was like 3 different backups in there. Like this, it's not going to be that bad.
No. But what I'm saying is, like, once you got pressure on Mahomes, it was like, okay, he can't play the quick game stuff. He can't do it. He wants to live in a world where I'm always going to live by extending. So if I let him do that, right? If I play into that by doing the rush 3 thing, then I'm almost letting him play his game, even though he's clearly hobbled. I want him to have to get rid of the ball. I want him to not be able to I want to manipulate him into wanting to play that game when he can't. And to me, the way to do that is you rush 4 and 5. I think. I'll be interested to see what Lou does. I imagine it's going to be a little of both. But then the other thing with the Chiefs running game did get going the last time around. I mean, I know aces like that won't happen again. It can't happen again. 57% success rate for the Chiefs running game on early downs. Now, the problem is you have a gimpy Mahomes. I don't think as I said, I don't think you're dropping 8 a lot. I think you're going to be playing downhill more, which is going to stop that running game from happening, which is going to put a lot more on Mahomes' plate. The only other way, I mean, it didn't happen in Super Bowl 55, and I don't know why. But like this, the one thing the Chiefs have going for them in this game to get to keep people off of Mahomes, do the misdirection stuff, right? And I'm not talking about like the ring around the rosy huddle shit that they love to do. I'm talking about like, the Chiefs are like, they come up with these creative ways to manipulate defenses. Kadarius Toney needs to be a big part of this game, right? I mean, that kind of let's try to figure out ways, especially if they're going to be bringing pressure, to manipulate their ways around it. Because otherwise, I think the Bengals are winning this football game. I mean, I'm with you, Sonny. I don't know that it's necessarily going to be 10, but I just look at this and it's like there's too many things going. Like the only way for that Bengals offense to get slowed down is by pass rush. I don't think it can happen by the secondary just having a monster game. I don't think it's possible. I don't think Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, L'Jarius Sneed, I don't think these players are just on the level to play that kind of game. And I think on the Chiefs offense, the problem for me is, okay, you can try to run the ball, but I don't imagine the Bengals are going to be as willing in this one to let you. And again, I need to see a Mahomes game where he can actually do the quick game thing before I'm going to believe that, like in the AFC Championship game, he's going to change his whole style around on a gimpy leg and just go out there and pick the Bengals apart. So I think it's advantage Bengals when they're on offense. And I think even though we are talking about Patrick Mahomes, who I think is the most underrated player in the National Football League, I think it's advantage Bengals there too. So I think the Bengals are winning, which is why I need your guys' help on this hedge thing.
Okay, this has gotten fucking ridiculous. Okay, you know what? I was ready to say that the Bengals are going to win this one, but after hearing that, we had this whole conversation as if Patrick Mahomes is another quarterback. I know he's hurt, but he's Michael Jordan, man. Like, no.
Most underrated player. I agree with you.
We're not talking about a regular quarterback here. We talk about, like, if you're playing Michael Jordan, are you like, hey, man, Mike got a hurt ankle? No, it don't matter. It's Mike.
Well,
that's Mike.
I need to see,
that's Mike. We're giving Joe Burrow a lot of credit, and he deserves a lot of credit. And Joe Burrow is really, really, really good, and I get that. But Pat Mahomes just recreated one of the craziest statistical stat lines he's had with none of the help that he had when he did it the first time. Like, I think we're underestimating that the quarterback on the other side is Patrick Mahomes. It's not Jalen Hurts. It's not somebody we think is good. It's Patrick Mahomes. He's two-time All-Pro first team. He's 27. Like, Brady didn't get first team till he was 30. This is Patrick Mahomes. I think we are wrapped up in all of the Burrow love because that's what this week was about. Joe Burrow and the Bengals did something very impressive to a team that everybody overhyped, including myself, in the Buffalo Bills. And that deserves a ton of credit on the road. They deserve a ton of credit for this. But I feel like the pendulum has swung too far in one direction. And I feel like when we have this conversation, I'm like, wow. Patrick Mahomes has a very small presence in this entire conversation, and I feel like that's a mistake. Like, we are having this conversation like Pat Mahomes ain't there, and I know he's hurt, the ankle, this and that. We have seen him do so much incredible stuff. Why are we assuming he can't do the easy stuff, which is throw quick? And he's hurt
because I've never seen him do it.
He's never had to.
Okay, well,
he's never had to because it's never mattered.
He had
because
to
he's Patrick Mahomes. No, it didn't matter if he threw quick at 55 because he didn't have time to get it off quick.
They had
the plan in 55. The plan in 55 was Pat run around until somebody gets open, dog.
Well, that
was the plan.
That's not
going to be the plan this week. That's not going to be the plan because the idea was Mahomes was healthy during that game. More healthy than the offensive line. This one he's not, so they're going to adjust around. He is Patrick Mahomes. I feel like we are so eager to crown a new king that we have forgotten.
You think I'm eager?
I'm not.
No. It's just the energy that we're in. It's the moment that we're in, right? It's like Joe Burrow, and I get it. Joe Burrow's dope. I love Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow's really cool. I think he's really, really, really good. But it's Patrick Mahomes. And look, I was ready to give this one up to the Bengals because I'm like, what if, until the Chiefs beat them, they get the benefit of the doubt. But now I gotta pick the Chiefs because everything that I'm seeing. Look, I've been off Twitter. I deleted it off my phone the last week, so I have not read all the buildup. And while I was doing this show, I was reading everything that's been happening this week, and I'm like, okay, all right. this thing has clearly went too far in Bengals world, and this thing is going to be smacked back to reality, right? This is Patrick Mahomes. This is the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a team. Look, Joe Burrow's impressive. 2 straight AFC conference games. That's impressive. This is his 4th. Okay. 5th. My bad. 5th.
Well, you might not be counting the bubble championship game, which I agree with you. That didn't happen,
but Chad Henne carried them to that. You know what I mean? His 4th quarter heroics. Like, let's not forget, you know. But it's Pat Mahomes, y'all. Like, yeah. I feel like we're breaking this down and we're like, hey, if they get pressure here and this and that, it's going to be over for the Chiefs. It's not. They have Patrick Mahomes. If anything, they can have a catastrophic breakdown and a lack of pressure. This thing could get 50 points in the first half. It's not over. They have Patrick Mahomes. And I know Bengal fans are going to call me a hater because they want to live in like the whole, I mean, they actually believe Joe Burrow is better than Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow is dope. He might be the 2nd best quarterback in the NFL. He's not better than Patrick Mahomes. Point blank, period. He's not. Nobody is going to take Patrick Mahomes. Nobody's going to take Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes.
Is he better than in-year Patrick Mahomes?
He's not better than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Mahomes.
He's not better than Patrick Mahomes.
You're talking me out of it now. So don't hedge.
He's not Patrick Mahomes. Okay, he is Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is dope. He is great. And he might get to the Super Bowl 2 times. Like, they can win. This is not. They have a good enough chance to win this game as anybody. But come on, man. Why we gotta act like he better than Pat? Why we gotta act like Pat not existed in this game? It's Pat Mahomes. And if you think Joe Burrow can have legendary moments, all I'm saying is that Joe Burrow can have those legendary moments, but so can Pat Mahomes. And Pat Mahomes on one leg, that sounds like that's gonna be legendary. Like, that just sounds like
okay. But Q, don't you think there's a revert? There's a second side of that, right? Because Mahomes can have a great game, but the Chiefs' defense also has to get some stops somehow. And I'm looking at him.
They don't come up with stops. We also forget that the Bengals' offense has not been like consistently scoring high points throughout the season. Like, that's just not happened. And they have not done that this postseason at all.
That's actually identity theft. I'm actually going to sue you for saying that.
Yeah, that hasn't happened. Like, did they score over 30 last week? Like, they were moving really well last week, but like, you can stop them. Yeah, you can
score 30 in the playoffs ever.
That's crazy. Hey, big shout out to the Browns. Big shout out to the Browns who scored 35 and what half of the playoffs in 2020. You remember who
again? Bubble year didn't count. Were there fans?
They almost got 30 in the first quarter, dog. They almost got 30 in the first.
Were there fans at that game? I don't remember.
I was legitimately thinking in my head, have the Browns scored over 30 in the playoffs? Like, oh yeah, we did it. Yeah, I remember that one.
Did the Steelers also score 30 in that one?
Ooh, I think so. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Hey, look, with scoring 30 on the Joe Woods defense, congratulations, dog. You're one of a million people who've done that before. You know.
Yeah, I know. I like
welcome to Walmart. But
Ravens scored 30 anytime recently? I don't even actually.
I feel like though this whole conversation and the whole narrative of this week has been slanted in the direction that Joe Burrow is the only one capable of doing anything legendary, which I find egregious. When Pat Mahomes
is
the other quarterback,
underrated player in the National Football League.
And I feel like it's gone too far. Like it really has. We're debating whether Jalen Hurts should get the MVP this year.
Well, we were going to do a segment.
Mahomes had 5,000 yards, and you can't name me 2 of his receivers if you're not a diehard NFL fan. Like, you really can't. That's insane that he has recreated these numbers with less talent. And I know A said that it matters when you have those guys. But guess what else when it matters? When you have the guy. And Pat Mahomes is that guy. He is the guy. That is the guy that Joe Burrow is aspiring to take his spot. He has not taken that spot yet. He is the guy. That's what it's going to boil down to. He's the guy. Pat Mahomes is the guy. I feel like we forgot, and I feel like we're due up for I forgot. Pat Mahomes is a real dope moment. Like, I feel like that's what we're in for. Like, that's where the energy is pointing for me. Yes, I'm making this choice off of vibes because this is a close enough game to where you can go off vibes. Okay, like this is not like like somebody's gonna win by 20 or something like that. This comes down to vibes, and the vibes to me are telling me, okay, we done forgot about Pat Mahomes. He's about to remind us that he is Patrick Mahomes.
I hope so.
Because this whole conversation, I was like, man, dog, it's Pat Mahomes, though. Like, usually we do this. None of us did it when we were breaking this down. We usually do that. Yeah, but it's Pat Mahomes. We do that with Brady. Like,
he's hurt. He's hurt, man. It's
Pat Mahomes. It's Pat Mahomes. He's hurt. It's Pat Mahomes, dog. Come on. If Pat Mahomes throws 300 yards in this game, are you actually going to be surprised?
Maybe.
You're going to be like, oh,
not that surprised. You're right. You're right in saying like not that surprised.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, it is Pat Mahomes. Maybe I was sleeping on him a bit too much. It's Pat Mahomes, y'all. That's all I'm saying.
Let me ask you this. Better chance. I mean, Alessandro, you can answer this too. Better chance that Mahomes throws for 300 or 350 or something like that, or we see Chad Henne in this game.
Oh, it's a better chance he throws for 300.
Yeah. The question is like, will Burrow throw for 300?
And then, like, what the big factor here is sometimes this happens, though. Sometimes this happens, too, where somebody wants to take advantage of an injury, and it takes them out of the game plan that worked versus them before. I worry about that with the Bengals, right? Because they might see him limping around there and like, hey, we're going to blitz him and all this. And I know from a fact, like blitzing Pat Mahomes, just never a good idea, no matter.
But here's the thing. They don't have Tyreek anymore. So who's that? Like, okay, you're blitzing because you don't want to give up the big play, but like, are you scared that Juju's going to go? I mean, I know Juju does have 2 97-yarders.
Dude, it could be Miko Perriman. It could be what's his name?
Scantling.
No, what's the dude name from the Giants?
Tony. Yeah.
Kadarius Tony.
I think I see a part of this.
It can literally be anybody. As long as the dude throwing the ball is Pat Mahomes, it can happen. You know what I mean? It is Patrick Mahomes. That's all I'm saying. And y'all could make fun of me all y'all want. I know Bengals chat is mad at me because it's Pat Mahomes. I'm bringing up Pat Mahomes like they bring up Joe Burrow, but it is Pat Mahomes, y'all. It's Pat Mahomes. It don't matter who on the other side. That's just what we learned this season. It literally doesn't matter. It does not matter. He's Pat Mahomes. We just ain't paid attention all year.
The Bengals fan can tell you when we play them, we play against Pat Mahomes.
That's cool and all. And look, the Browns beat the Bengals 4 times in a row. At any point were any of their quarterbacks better than Joe Burrow? No. That was never the case. Those times that they beat Joe Burrow, but eventually it mattered.
Will not stand. We need where the Baker Mayfield stand.
Eventually, it mattered that Joe Burrow was the quarterback for the Bengals, right? Eventually, that mattered. Eventually, it's gonna matter that Pat Mahomes is the quarterback there. Like that's just all I'm saying.
So Q is telling. Oh, you want to get super chats first?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I sat here and listened to y'all for 45 minutes and chat still like you talk too much. I'm like, come on now. Come on now.
Nah. Excuse me. Talk about the AFC game now. We did. Thank you for the super chat. T. Higgins been a baller. That stiff arm in the natty game again.
Pay T. Higgins, baby.
Nasty.
Pay him.
Hey, top 2, not 2. Pay him
35 million. Pay him like a pass rusher.
I agree. He should break 35.
If 40. Cincinnati wants to
quarterback maker,
they have to treat it like Skyline Chili. Get them runs.
Yo, the fact that we're not talking about ball control in a game against Pat Mahomes is crazy. I feel like this is crazy.
I think I think the game script is reversed. I think the Chiefs can win with ball control, but
that's crazy, man.
Also, I'm very proud of this. It's like 45 minutes too late, but I'm very proud of this.
Always been a Brittany guy myself.
This is when Ace was saying like Brittany was big, and then Christina jumped on the scene.
Yeah, but guess what though? Brittany's still Brittany though. Like
we don't been a Brittany guy.
We don't talk about Christina Aguilera like we do Brittany. There's no free Christina doc. You know what I mean? Like no. Crazy. This is like when people are like, hey, Michael Jackson thought he would dominate. The Prince came around. Nah, we still talk about Michael more. Like Prince cool, but that's Michael. This is what I'm saying. Joe Burrow's Prince. He got Purple Rain. He got some dope stuff, and I understand that that's your favorite over. But Michael right there, dog. That's Mike. That's Mike. That's one glove doing the Thriller and the moonwalk. That's Mike, dog. That's Pat Mahomes right there.
I don't know. This is a game that I actually don't see it. Like I cannot see the Bengals losing. Maybe it's because
you give them no chance. See, I don't give them no chance.
I basically as soon as the playoffs started, I was like, man, if the Ravens can ruin the Bengals postseason, if not, the Ravens win it at all. And I still sustain him. Anyway, Anime Tree here says Henny is the best QB in Kansas City. Ace, don't underestimate him. Baker did.
Love that.
Q, ready for this 0-16 season coming up? Well, 17 games, so.
Yeah, fail. You didn't even get the game right. LOL.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, the only 0-16 season I've already experienced it. You can't hurt me. You can't hurt me by saying we're gonna be bad. You know what I've lived through. You can't hurt me. Okay,
maybe it's championship week. We got your trash talk game has to be way better, Chad.
Come on.
It's championship week. Get
As a Bengal fan, you're active right now, and that's what you're doing?
I know.
You're in those spaces every week, and you out here dropping that? Oh, come on now. You know what?
It's all about the details this time of year. It's all about the details this time of year, guys. Let's go. Come on, step it up.
It's Pat Mahomes, dog.
Mayfire here said 21 years ago today was the 2001 AFC champ
Ban
game,
this guy.
and 3 quarters that Coward lost at home. 3 interceptions by Stewart plus 16 touchdowns.
Damn, that's your boy.
You know what's so funny about it? I forgot Cordell threw 3 interceptions.
Your boy.
At the end of the game. Back to back.
Your boy.
I know. Favorite Steeler of all time, Cordell Stewart.
Terrell Williams here trying to bait Q. Come on, Q. Predict that big.
No, y'all lost the privilege after that. Dog, y'all.
You did it last week.
Yeah, because it was funny last week. It ain't funny this week. Nah, that's Pat Mahomes, dog.
Okay. Thanks, dudes, for getting to the game a little before people have to leave. We love a longer convo and game still peaceful. I mean, I thought we covered it for a while. What are you talking about?
What are we talking about? We've literally
been talking about the game for an hour. He said thanks for getting to the game a little bit before.
People have to leave. Yeah, he's saying like we don't talk about it fast enough.
I really want the 49ers.
It's usually a 2-hour show, and we've been talking about it for an hour.
Look, we Anquan Bowden on this podcast. We don't get in and out of our breaks quickly, but we get open. You know what I mean? Right. We find space.
Can't come Bowden getting a straight. Anyway, I really want a 49ers Bengals Super Bowl 3rd matchup in Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't.
What you wish?
That's my biggest fear because if
that means the Bengals are winning.
Well, that means the Bengals are winning for shout.
2 weeks on a dude like Brock Purdy. Yeah, that little fairy does go like pop off. You know what I mean? Yep. That's when Cinderella turns into a pumpkin. Them 2 weeks that you gotta wait for the Super Bowl, he gonna come out there and drop an absolute turn. For 4 quarters, we're gonna have to watch and realize, oh yeah, Bengals are winning this one because they're up 14 in the first.
Sonny and I talked about this on the Patreon. If the Bengals offensive line doesn't, like, I know Cap is out of the brace now, so he's probably playing in the Super Bowl, and probably the other guy is too, right? But if they're not, let's say they're not healthy, that's a massive problem. I mean, like, okay, can Chris Jones do it? Can the Bills? Okay, but the Eagles and the Niners defensive lines against that could be a Justin's or a Jeffrey Simmons type game.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Eagles actually have an offense that can, do some damage. Plus, I don't know. I think the Eagles are way better. I think the Eagles, I agree with you. If the Niners
have an actual quarterback,
that's
the thing.
I can't wait to do I'm going to do the exact same rant Q just did, but about Brock Purdy before the Super Bowl.
It's Brock Purdy.
Jay here says,
what are we talking about, guys? It's Brock Purdy. It's Mr. Irrelevant.
That rant will either live in infamy or live in fame. Like that. Because I was very emphatic on it's Pat Mahomes, y'all. Like,
look, for Jay here says Mahomes can be better than Burrow, but Jordan
can be.
Nah.
Yes, he is Jordan. He is. We have never seen anything. We have forgotten.
What I've been saying. How long have I been saying Mahomes is underrated?
This is crazy. He just threw for can I pull up his stat line real quick for the regular season? Let's pull this.
Yards, like 36
While you
touchdowns.
do that, I'll read this super chat here. I think Q has the Sean between Pickett and Trubisky.
Oh, he had 50. Well, is this counting the playoffs? I think this is counting the playoffs. Yeah, but so far counting the playoffs, 5,250 yards, 41 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and God knows who he threw those touchdowns to. Like 10 of them to Travis Kelce. I don't know who else, okay? Like when Ace was bringing up a negative about him, he was like, hey, in this zone look, he's not that great. He only does 17 and 12. That's crazy. By the way, Father,
appreciate the super chat here. If you're trying to drive a wedge between me and Q right now, we did start I'm going to be, again, we're in peaceful mode.
Nah. Look.
You know,
we
I
know what
I
that
won't make.
is.
Listen, I won't make the jokes that I want to make here, but we'll reconvene on this super chat on Monday's show.
Yeah.
How many times can Q say Pat Mahomes in 60 seconds?
Enough to y'all realize y'all playing Pat Mahomes.
Can someone like in the comments on the VOD afterwards count it up and see how many times?
No, I want you to take a shot every time I say Pat Mahomes.
We should do like a shot chart. Game. Yeah, we should clip it and then put like a shot chart. Like, you know, ding, 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 ding.
Okay, Bruce here says, but remember, Q, this is a defining moment for Joe Burrow. If he beats Mahomes and gets to the Super Bowl win, he's officially better.
It does not matter. He's not better than Patrick Mahomes.
You could have said the exact same thing last year. I mean, like it's like deja vu, right? Yeah. Like, if he does those, then he gets it.
You can create any phony criteria you want to try to convince me that he's better. He's not. He's good. He's really good. He ain't Pat. Okay. If we really want to compare, he has to get to what? 4 more AFC championship games or something like that to equal what Pat's. No, come on.
3 more after this.
Come on now. Come on.
But he can't. Well, he could. I guess he could face Kenny next year, but he'll lose that one. So
yeah. I mean, like we'll cross that bridge when it happens. You know what I mean?
Oh man, what do you think of all this media outlets saying the Chiefs defense is so much better?
Who says this?
Yeah, who says
this? Is like
I've never heard.
This is Georgia going 7-5. This is
no. This is like when you hear one guy, like one moron say it on like some random podcast that has like 4 listeners. No offense if you're that guy. And you're like, I can't believe this media is saying this. Like, show me legitimate clips of legitimate media outlets saying this because I have not read that not one single time.
Not once. Actually,
you certainly won't hear any of us saying that, right? I mean, like even Q, who's like the Chiefs are going to win, is not sitting there saying like the Chiefs defense is better than the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm not saying the Chiefs are a better football team than the Bengals. I think the Bengals are a better team. Like, but I'm also just saying it's Pat Mahomes on the other side. Like, just happens, man. Like, yeah, the Bengals should win, in my opinion. But I feel like it's about to be some Pat Mahomes things. It's about to happen.
Bruce here says Q can talk as much as he wants. He got the best background.
It's true.
Sadly, though,
we all got to step our game up now. I do feel like I need to step my game up now.
Well, yeah. For me, will be way some point next year after I move and I have my setup after.
I thought I was so fancy when I added these lights back here. I added these lights. I was like, oh, it's so fancy. Now Q's like got the whole mood lighting going with the with the spinning thing, and I got like one little. Yeah, I mean, like it's a joke setup.
Well, just get you a TV and just put it vertical. You know, just put one of your monitors vertical and then boom.
Oh, can I tell you guys I was gonna do that? I know we didn't do a show after the game, but after Kenny beat, you know how we were going to replace this with like the Ray Lewis thing. So I had already.
You're going to get that size of Kenny.
No, I had already gotten the TV that would fit right there, right? And then we were going to unveil it with just on a loop, Kenny Pickett throwing the Najee Harris touchdown on a loop, right behind it. So
that's brutal. That would have been that. You should have did that. That would have been.
I know, but we didn't do a show that week, so
yeah, that would have hurt me.
Wouldn't hurt you.
I would have been like, cool. Anyway,
look, Sonny's grown a lot for the man who took his hoodie.
Oh yeah, I know. Listen, we've had a lot of good battles.
Well, there's I have limits, and when I reach my limits, I go all out. At that point, it's like effort. That doesn't matter.
Well, and also you got to remember, you can't hurt him because most of his anger is directed directly at John Harbaugh at this point. You know what I mean? Like that's who he be mad at. He don't be mad at Steeler fans. He don't be mad at the Steelers. He be mad at John in AWS. Yes.
Yeah, it's more on the GM, to be honest, than Harbaugh.
Oh yeah, okay.
See, look, it's hard to be mad at other franchises when you hate your own at the current time. You know what I mean? Like it's not hate, but you got problems with how they running things. I don't know if Tony's ever been there because he's been on that narcotic.
Okay, before we go, Tony, you wanted to talk about hedging because
okay. So I have the opportunity. So those of you who gamble, you'll understand this. Those of you who don't, I'll try to keep you to follow along. I think it was like beginning of the season. The Chiefs 10-1 to win the Super Bowl, right?
How many units?
2.
Okay.
Right? But it doesn't matter. We'll just say, let's just for the purposes of this discussion, let's imagine a world where it's like, I don't know, let's just do it $100, right? So we'll say it's $100. Each unit is $100. That's what all the gambling is. Let's say I have $200 on there, right? So I have a chance to win $2,000 if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. But now we're in hedging territory. Hedging is essentially the idea that you can bet the other side of your thing, of whatever you have, to try and guarantee yourself a profit. Even if it's just a small profit, right? We can just guarantee ourselves profit along the way. In order for me to hedge this, I need to hedge this week, which would be to bet the Bengals straight up, right? And the way that would work is I'm thinking, and again, chat, correct me if I'm wrong here, because sometimes my math gets screwy on these things. I never claim to be a mathematician or even smart. But I'm thinking, okay, so I can bet 3 units this week, which would get me 6 units total back, right? Because you get the 3 you got plus 3. That's 6 units, right? Meaning that I would have put in 5 units total. I get back 6 units. That guarantees myself a profit, even if the Bengals win, right? And then if the Bengals don't win, now I'll put in 5 units, but still have the opportunity to get 20 back. So I can put in another, 5 units to guarantee myself. What would that be at this point? This is where the math gets hard for me.
But it depends. What is the return on the Super Bowl?
So I would imagine I'll put it on even odds. I would hope that, because I think the Super Bowl odds are out right now. So if the Bengals are playing the Eagles, the Bengals it's +1 for the Bengals. So basically even odds. Mm-hmm. And if the Bengals are playing the 49ers, it's also +1. Holy cow. Also, wait, what? The early line on Bengals 9 Super Bowl is Bengals +1. Can you believe that?
I mean, against the Eagles.
No, against the Niners. I'm sorry. Against the Niners. Bengals, Niners.
The Niners have too much hype. Look, I like the Niners. The Niners have a lot of hype because, let's be honest, Kyle Shanahan has the hype of the world as the coach right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I don't think I'm going to hedge. I mean, like, I think. See, my problem is that I think that my book is not offering a cash out. Someone says they're offering a cash out. They're not. I don't. I live in a state where this is all like, yeah. Yes.
Under the table.
Right. This is all theoretical, right? This is all theoretical. If I had,
we're doing an exercise in theory.
That's right. Totally in theory.
If he would have done this, what would have happened?
Yeah. Yeah. So I do think the Bengals are going to win. I think what I might do, and this is probably dumb, is I might hedge this week and then not hedge the Super Bowl, because I do feel like this is the Chiefs' toughest test. If they get past this game, I think Mahomes heals up in 2 weeks, and he'll be much healthier.
Over.
And then I think that they win the Super Bowl. Yeah.
So you think basically Super Bowl is this week?
No. I think the Eagles can beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, regardless, Bengals are going to win this week, so it doesn't matter.
Nah, you're probably right too.
Regardless of everything I said, Eagles can't beat the Chiefs. I will say that.
They can. They could. They could beat the Chiefs. They could.
Chiefs. Yeah. Even though it is. But if the Chiefs get to the Super Bowl, I'm picking the Chiefs. Why?
Right. And I would too. That's why I would. I don't think
I have to even finish the sentence on why I would pick the Chiefs.
Yeah, 2 words? 2 words?
3 words. It's.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, okay, got it.
Got it. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. We'll be back to review this game next week, so make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell.
Sonny,
go ahead.
Should we tell them one? Oh, after this week, obviously we'll be going down to 1 show per week, right? After this.
Yes, probably, and we're gonna be
probably we're going down to 1 show per week after this.
February off. We're gonna be taking February off.
Hey, hold on, wait, that's too overzealous. We swinging the pendulum back. We're swinging the pendulum back in the direction.
I did. That joke is gonna come back to bite me now.
We're gonna stick with the show a week format until Cincinnati is eliminated from the playoffs. We don't know when that will be, but we are planning until the Super Bowl, just in case.
Funny, I'm tired. You're taking advantage of my tiredness.
It'll always be the Steelers fans that want to play around like that. You know what I mean? Like,
I think you were just trying to press
all fun and games until Brock Purdy's playing Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl. And I'm like, well, it's Joe Burrow. Like, it's Joe Burrow, dog. Like,
yeah. I agree. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining the live stream. Again, make sure you subscribe to the pod and hit the bell so you know when we come live. Thank you for watching, and we will see y'all next time.